Hi, everybody. My name is Stetson Randolph, and we're going to be going over Google's unethical business practices. Some of the objectives that we're going to cover is the brief history of Google, the unethical business practice that Google performed, and why this practice was unethical, determine the roles that leadership has had to this behavior, how the behavior impacted society, the organization, and individuals, what was the outcome of the event, the fairness of the punishment, and ways to prevent the incidents from occurring in the future by using policies and procedures. So let's look at the history of Google. Google has been a premier company for many years. The technology company specializes in the following: cloud computers, search engines, online advertisement, and much more. Is considered one of the big three tech companies, along with Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon. The company was formed in 1998 by two PhD students, Sturgey Brin and Larry Page. The company has had a global reach for many years. All right, to add to that, the two individuals share 14% of the company shares and control 56% of the company's voting powers through super voting stocks. The company was a privately owned company based out of California and has since reincorporated in Delaware, and the company has gone public. Continuing on with the history, the company went public in 2004. Google made a structural change in 2015. The organization is an umbrella company of the Alphabet Internet Company. Since its incorporation, the company has continued to grow its empire. When you look at Google as a whole, it's not only a search engine, but it has Google Doc, Google Slide, Gmail, Google Calendar, cloud storage, Google Earth, and much more. The organization has a major involvement in the Android operating system. So, to add to all that, Google has expanded its operation. The company has moved to hardware systems. From 2010 to 2015, Google partnered with major electronic companies to assist with the production of Nexus devices. Google is the most visited website in the world. That's crazy that everybody think about Google when they do a general search. So let's look at the unethical business practices that Google's performed. In 2019, the company faced a dilemma. Google was facing fines from the European Union. The European Union accused Google of abusing their dominant position. The company was accused of forcing customers to sign a contract saying they will not accept advertisement from viral search engines. After thorough investigation, it was noted that Google had market dominance for over 10 years. So the company, it was just dominant in every aspect of the search engine. Having market dominance is not illegal, but companies have the following rules and regulations. Google tried to restrict competition and gain a competitive advantage over their companies. The companies engaged in three types of practices with the goal of having dominance over internet search. Why is this practice unethical? We see. Let's look into that. These practices were unethical for three reasons. Google required manufacturers to install a browser and search application as a condition of licensing the Google App Store. When making payments using a device like Android, users had to install Google search apps in their devices in order to complete the transaction, so they controlled the paying power. Finally, Google prevented different manufacturers from wanting to install Google apps from selling their smart devices that ran on a different version of Android without the permission of the company. So they tried to prevent other people from using their devices by having a roadblock. The company packaged its application into a bundle. Manufacturers had to purchase the following: Google Chrome, Google Search, and Google Play Store. Using licensing agreements, users were forced to download all three apps in order to use their products. It's interesting. Determining the role that leadership had on this behavior. There might have been pressure by corporate level leadership to sell more products to its customers and manufacturers. Google corporate headquarters might have be setting unrealistic expectations for the organization. By setting these unrealistic goals, it can put pressure on employees, which might make them act unethical in order to meet the company's expectations. Google leadership might have created a work environment with the goal of monopolizing the tech industry. When we think about Google, in Europe, over 90% of all searches come from Google, and in the United States, it's 65%. So definitely, they had a monopolizing business. After after items, another item to take into consideration is that Google might have created an environment that makes it psychologically frightening to speak up. Most leaders have an open door policy, but sometimes their actions speak louder than words. So if you try to go to a leader's office, do they truly use an open door policy? All right. Next, we're going to talk about how the behavior impacted society, the organization, and the individual. Google is a widely used in Europe. The company has about 90% of search engines traffic in Europe and 64 of the search engines traffic in the United States. We talked about that in a previous slide. If the company does not follow regulations, more laws could be established in the future that prevents monopolizations. By creating more laws and regulations, it could create complications for development of software and technology between Europe and the United States. Google practices affect its users by forcing Android users to use the software by adding their anti-fragmentation agreement. Most headsets that are shipped outside of China uses Google software and bundle services. What was the outcome of the event? What happened? Google ended up being fined $9.3 billion by the European Union for antitrust issues. The company is facing investigation from the United States Justice Department over the issue. The company had 90 days to fix the discrepancy or face a 5% penalty of daily profits. This means Google had to stop making manufacturers pre-install Google Search and Chrome engines in order for them to use Google Play Store. Additionally, Google had to stop making phone manufacturers use their divided version of Android. Google already stopped its illegal payment bundle practices once the European Union started investigating its programs. Next. Let's talk about the fairness of the punishment that was given to Google, all that money they had to pay back. I feel like the punishment was justified because clinics put their trust in the company and Google abused its powers in order to seek financial gains. Is it about money or is it taking care of the customer? That's the real question that we ask ourselves. It has been noted that Google has been abusing its power for over 10 years. Google actions prevented rival companies from growing and having a platform for advertisement. Owners of different websites were forced to rely solely on Google products and services. By using Google as an example, it will set a standard moving forward that every tech company is to operate with a certain level of integrity no matter the size. I totally agree with that because it doesn't really matter the size of the company. Everybody has to have a code of conduct. And if you set the standard for one company, then all the other companies will follow suit. Almost done, guys. Ways to prevent the incidents from occurring in the future by using policies and procedures. Establishing a standard operating procedure that every employee understands what is expected of them also goes over past experience scenarios so if a situation does occur, employees know how to handle themselves. So I couldn't agree with that more. From the CEO to the janitor, everybody should know how to operate the business, what is expected of them. Things like that can be key to your company's success. Promote continuing knowledge and education. Don't just offer annual computer-based training to staff members as a check in the box. Bring outside entities to speak through different commonly encountered problems in the tech industry. Also provide a variety of resources and tools to employees. Different reporting systems that are anonymous should be available to employees if they notice an unethical situation. So just giving other people other avenues to report if they see an unethical situation is key to your company's success. All right. Ways to prevent incidents from occurring in the future by using policies and procedures. Creating monitoring systems to reduce unethical behavior is key to organization success. Also, a company can establish an investigation review board that reviews different incidents and make a recommendation as to what actions need to be taken. Other options to consider is a company can set up email accounts or hotlines that employees can call into to report different issues. Finally, during the hiring process, employers should look to hire the individual person that has the educational background, skills, and ability to handle the day-to-day operations that they are assigned. It's very important to hire qualified individuals. During the hiring process, I feel like that's very important. If you want to streamline who's qualified and who's not, who can handle the day-to-day operations, that's something to take in considerations. That alleviate a lot of the issues that occur. Being proactive, not reactive when a situation occurs. Taking preventive measures are key to an organization's success. I mean, when you look in, because I'm in medical, when you look in the medical industry, giving immunizations is key to preventing a disease. That applies the same when you look at the business world. Doing stuff to prevent bigger issues from occurring in the future. The last two slides, you can reference all these informations from the different references that I have up here. Thank you. Y'all have a great day.